And we're live.
And we are live, and we have that way.
Lewis over there.
Lewis is back with us. He got an awesome Christmas gift.
Yeah,
birthday.
Birthday gift.
Birthday gift.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yep.
Okay.
Here's Christy.
Nice. Either way, you got an awesome gift.
Yep.
And you're back on screen with us, so great to have you back, buddy.
Hey.
Hey, there she is.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I got caught. My computer was trying to upload itself, and I had to stop it.
Oh, that's okay. I already sent Kevin something, but Ken something, but he didn't come on yet.
Okay, he should.
We're just waiting on
you.
him.
Sent it to the right one, huh?
Yeah, I did it through his messenger, so hopefully it worked.
That's right. I think Ken uses his cell phone or something and plugs it in or does some crazy stuff. So, hi, Christy.
Hi, SoCal.
How are you?
I'm doing good. Okay.
Well, I think since Lewis is back with us,
thank God.
I think he should give a little shout out to the chat like we always do.
Exactly. Go ahead.
What? Who? What?
What?
I don't know your guys' system. You guys created a whole system while I was gone.
Ken said send it to his email.
Okay, I'll send it to his email. Okay. All right. Got it.
All right. So while we get Ken and Rachel all sorted out, we will say hi to Parkway.
Patrick Vaughn, the punk.
Paul Tavares.
Sharon Guy, my friend.
Tom Paul Cajun's in the house.
TFV.
My new buddy, Typical Watch.
Sawdust Beast in the house.
Carol and Bill King, glad y'all can make it. It's always a pleasure having you.
Wade Richards, hello.
Yeah, Squatch Man.
We got Chris Jarvis. What's up, Chris?
I'd love to have Wade on the show someday. If he's willing to, you go ahead and email me. We'll get you set up. So thank you all for joining us today. We have our wonderful moderator, Squatchaholic, in the house also, kicking butt and not taking names. So I'm glad because it's a short list. So she doesn't have to take names. She can memorize it. It's very short. So that's good. That's a good thing. So how is everyone doing?
After the Christmas, kind of be like Christmas hangover, huh?
Well, you would think so, but I was hoping going on Saturday being a day after Christmas, I figure everyone would be sleeping in from having to go everywhere and do everything. Yeah, I was wrong. Sorely mistaken. Now I gotta move.
Okay.
What do you mean?
I am taking down the buckets and I am moving them to a different area.
Oh, good.
Had a person walk down that trail as I was filling the buckets.
That's crazy.
Oh, that's not good.
Yeah.
So it at the end of the day, it ain't about me. It's about them.
Yep.
So I think I found a really good spot. I know they've been down that far. So next Saturday will be moving day. And Lewis, you know this. Yeah. You know this. They're gonna see me taking down the buckets and they're gonna be like, what the heck is he doing? They're gonna follow me all the way over there.
Yeah. They'll follow you over there.
Yeah.
Here
They followed us the whole way to the cave. Good evening, Ken. Good evening, Rachel. I hope you all had a wonderful Christmas.
We did. Thank you. Hope you did.
We got Lewis back with us.
Hi.
Hey, Lewis.
Hi.
Yeah. So it's
Let's do a little audio check. Can you hear us all right?
Yes.
No. Oh. I mean, yeah.
All right.
He's pulling your foot.
I've been gone too long. Sorry.
Yes, you have.
I think we have it underway.
Oh yeah.
How y'all
All
two
right.
doing? Y'all doing good?
Doing
We
pretty
are.
good.
We are. Busy year.
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
Feeding all those Bigfoots out there.
Everybody survived their Friday and made it through to tell the story, huh?
Yep.
Yeah.
Good. Anybody get anything cool this year? Or,
Kevin got a broken tripod.
well,
Well,
No.
I was. Yeah. I ran it over with my truck.
Oh, come
gorilla
on.
tape and super glue.
Well, now, once I got home and I was able, because there was a couple of things I actually took off of this when I got it from Lewis. One of the things I took off was this piece right here. And the part that broke was the little ball part
Right.
Oh, yeah.
that swivels and turns and stuff. So it works, but it's just kind of fixed in place. You know what I mean? But the main thing is I'm not sitting there trying to hold my phone like this because my fingers start cramping after about 10 minutes.
You're up and down hills all the time anyway, so it doesn't matter if the camera's kind of turned just a little
Right.
bit.
Even if I hold the camera flat, I'm usually going up something like this. So you're just staring at the ground anyway. You know what I mean? So.
Well, there's another one on its way, so you'll be all right.
Yeah.
I want to say hi to everybody. I'm seeing a lot of hellos, so I'm just going to make a broad hello.
So, what do you make out of that new ravine that you went down into?
Well, I've been down there before. I actually took Lewis down there when he came down. That's actually where me and Lewis found a footprint, big footprint, and so I know they go down there. It's. I did the video exploring the new gifting area. That's on my channel, and it's off of the White Sand Trail.
I think a few weeks ago when you were showing that fence section, I said that looked really good down in that bottom to go check it out. So maybe that'll work out.
They like the bottom where we are, so.
Yeah, and I actually, in that video, it starts out at that fence. At the footprint I find by the trail, pointing towards, it goes down. It's steep. I couldn't even walk it. It's more than a 45-degree angle, and you can just see two big, giant steps going down. It hits the fence, turns right, goes down to the fence, and then I went around and went down there, and I found where that trail comes out and goes. And there's a couple nice little pockets, and I'm just gonna.
That'll also be a good place to walk that fence to see if there's any hair snags on it or something.
It is, and since I'm going to be spending a lot more time down there, I'll be able to explore that. And hey, I might find a big flat rock.
There you go.
I can't believe you don't explore that more often out there. That drives me crazy.
Well, when I go out there, it's about them.
Yeah.
So, but with the whole incident that happened yesterday, I'm done.
It's holiday time and people are looking for a place they can get out to that they aren't going to be around everybody else. So that's
unfortunate. Everybody's thinking of the same place.
Right.
No, it's a secret spot.
Yesterday, I had that girl walk down the trail when I was filling Fletch's bucket. Don't know how much she saw. I don't know how much she heard because I know I was talking to the camera. That did it for me. That was the straw that broke the camel's back right there. The weekend before that, I had that German Shepherd run down, see me sitting there, turn tail, and bail right back out. And then the weekend before that, I had the two dogs. And I've just...
Yeah, and it wouldn't matter what the big guy's attitude is when there's that much outside traffic coming and going. They're going to retract. They're going to pull back from that. So
That's another reason too. That new spot gets me down into the valley. It gets me well away from that main road. It's going to be a lot easier and safer for me to get in and out because it doesn't dump onto the main fire road. It dumps onto a smaller trail that you have to take to the main fire road. So it's going to be better for all of us, you know. And I have no doubt in my mind they're going to find me. They're just going to see me taking down the buckets. And they're going to be like, what are they doing? What's he doing? Where's he going with our buckets? And I think I got a great place. I got a great idea to keep the rodents down. Found some good trees to do it on. And it's going to get set up.
Sometimes things will get arranged in a funny way just to create changes that we need to make.
Exactly. That's what I'm telling you. Everything happens for a reason. Yeah. So, you know, I mean, it's just weekend after weekend, it seems, and it just got one dog, then 2 dogs, now a person. And I'm like, well, I guess I'm moving. We're moving, boys and girls. So
I saw Oscar up there on Lewis's lap, and that reminded me I had made mention of it the other day when we were on the other show. But I bought a sturdy harness for Rocket, the bulldog, and I've got to make a metal strap insert for it and drill it and tap it and make a bracket to put that little GoPro type camera on there.
Oh yeah.
And I'm going to send him out there in the woods with us, and he sits at the fence and whines when he hears them. Yeah,
he wants to go out and play.
He's not afraid of them, so we're going to cut him loose and see what happens. And
sometimes he acts like he wants to play, and sometimes he just sits really quiet and watches. So maybe a different one or one he hasn't seen.
Does he bark at all?
Not really. In the first month or so, when he was really aware that they were out there, he'd kind of yap a little bit. But now he just sits there like he's waiting for him to come up and do something, you know.
I've heard of encounters about that where this dog, the girl had 3 dogs, and one of them the Bigfoot liked, and she had a sighting of all 3 of them and right in front of her, and when she came up to it, the dogs blocked her and then took off, and then the other one of the Bigfoots whistled for that dog, and that dog came up to that Bigfoot and was rubbing against its legs, and rubbed its ear and everything. It was and always found bones right next to that dog on the chain, and the dog was never loose. The only time they go loose was when she takes him for a walk, and they always found bones next to that dog because they were feeding him.
Yeah, and there's a reason he's named Rocket. He can run faster than a jackrabbit, so I'm not afraid.
We're not going to tell you his real name.
Lewis, you may remember this, but Barb and Gabby.
Yeah, I remember Gabby.
Gabby passed away.
Right, yeah.
Gabby ran loose all over the place wherever they went, and she made friends with that group.
Right.
They buried Gabby on the property, had a nice little thing set aside.
Yep.
And Barb walked out the next morning, and there were flowers and like foliage all over the grave.
Oh, wow.
Bigfoot had come that night and mourned Gabby's death.
Wow. That's crazy.
Rocket's been around as long as we've been working with these people, and for what times we have felt them up near the house, I have no doubt they know him. No doubt.
Oh, yeah, they know.
I'm going to adjust this light so everybody is not getting blinded by the glare on my bald head. Hang on.
I know I had to turn the light away from me, too.
Is that any better?
Yeah, it's a little better, yeah.
There you go.
That's better. There you go.
Blinded by the light.
You guys spend all night feeding Bigfoots and then sleep all day. You know what I mean?
Pretty much.
No sun out there.
We were out late last night, and I wanted to take that new camera out and mess with it, and that'll be tomorrow's video. I'm not going to tell you any spoiler alerts, but it's going to I think you'll be well impressed with the new camera. So
I have to say thank you for posting on Monday. It's a great way to start off the week. You know,
We
sit
try to
down
get
in the
it
morning, have my coffee, watch little Ken King, and then
Well,
head
you
off
know,
to work.
if
And
I-
while I'm at work, I can think about everything.
Well, if I post on Saturday, I might as well forget it because everybody's watching you. You know.
Oh, please.
Brother.
Hardly.
Yeah, I watch Ken in the mornings too when I'm eating cereal. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
I'm right up there with Captain Crunch. That's cool.
That's right.
Lucky Charms.
Captain Crunch and
Frosted
Folgers.
Lucky
There you
Charms.
No, it's been kind of the last couple months have been odd, or since October, really. You know, that different than last fall was, but not. I can't say so much against the family or anything, but just maybe it's everything we've all been through this year and just feeling all of that, or I don't know what the difference is. It just seems like it's, and we noticed more with deer season this year that they were coming out at night. We didn't notice that last fall.
Last fall they weren't up close as they have been this year hunting. You didn't hear the rifle shots near as close as this year.
Yeah.
So the past couple months they've been kind of nocturnal with most of their activity, where last fall it was any time of the day you could expect to see or hear something.
Or certain parts of it were still new to us, so maybe we're just more perceptive now than we were then. I'm not sure, but
You know, I have to agree with you on the whole atmosphere of everything is shifted and changed and stuff. You know, it's like whenever I'm out in public, you're right, it doesn't feel the same. You know, it's almost like the whole vibe of the earth is now.
it's just different.
It's just different.
Yeah.
You know, it's just. It's to be expected with everything that's happened in 2020. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
you know, I mean, hopefully 2021 will ease that. And
Well, we're gonna hope so. I mean,
We've got a lot to get done this year. We don't have time to play.
right.
doesn't matter. We're gonna keep on doing what we're doing regardless regardless of that climate.
Oh, yeah.
We
Absolutely.
just make
I agree.
adjustments as they make adjustments. So we never really know for sure, you know, from visit to visit what might be different. But
That's right. That's right. So,
majority of deer season's over now. So hopefully they'll kind of reacclimate to evening time or early mornings, or, you know, before it was middle of the afternoon. It didn't matter what time it was.
We need to get you a booster seat. Look how low you're. Either that or I need to slouch, one or the other.
You need to get to some yellow pages.
He's calling me short.
you know,
I heard that loud and clear.
there's a great comment and stuff from Kevin Duffy that just passed here. And Arkansas Bigfoot channel is the most informative and educational Bigfoot channel out there.
Guaranteed to
That's
miss
coming
one
from
bit.
Kevin Duffy. So you guys are absolutely rocking the house.
Well, they've been on a lot of podcasts
Doing
too. I've
great
been
stuff,
seeing them
so.
everywhere.
We really
Yeah.
appreciate all of our viewers and subs, because we've really noticed. That's the other thing we've noticed this year, is that a lot of people are really coming out of the more animal mindset and that violent energy into something a little more accepting, or a little maybe more curious of the real nature of what's going on.
Yeah.
Why do you keep looking at me like that?
Educational and informative. I'm gonna have to rename it Junior's Neighborhood and start singing the Mr.
no.
Rogers theme song.
He's already
No.
got the big head. He doesn't need any more help.
Or it's too bad you couldn't get Junior to wear a GoPro.
There you go.
And then it would be Junior's Neighborhood. It would be a day in the life of Junior. You know, I mean,
That
what
would
am I
be
going to
awesome.
do? Go steal Rocket's toys out of the backyard.
I'll
And
tell
then
you,
walk
he's
around
going to be a
all day.
force to reckon with.
Well,
Are the
that's-
twins underneath Junior, because they're like, this is like Generation X on Sasquatch coming up. They honestly tail really close behind us almost every visit. But I feel like somebody said thou shalt not. You know, because if they could just jump right in and be a part of it, I feel like they would. And Junior, he's a lot the same way. But those younger ones are really getting active and present.
Well, I mean, they're getting to the point where they're getting inquisitive and curious, and they want to know what Junior's doing and why he's doing it. You know what I mean? So.
And we had one visit out there during the day, which it struck me odd, but Martuk, I saw him clearly, and he's not near as tall as Junior. He's small. He might be 5.5.
If he's that, he might just be 5 foot tall.
And I think Lily's only maybe 5. And we haven't had him close enough to measure him, obviously. But about, what was that, 50 yards at? 30?
Yeah, probably
30 to 50 yards. It was kind of going up that hillside, but right in the middle of the path, he was standing there in broad daylight. And there was a tree next to him, maybe 10 feet away. But and I didn't dare take my eyes off of him. I knew if I moved my head,
he'd be gone.
But I sat there and steady looked at him while I was trying to get Ken's attention. And just as I was speaking to Ken, I saw him just take 2 steps and step right behind the tree that was next to him. And I'm going, Ken, he said, don't worry about what's been, worry about what is. And right in front of him was Lily. And I said, are you kidding me? And I could see her just leaning, whereas he was in the path, she was leaning from behind the tree. And this giggling. And I felt like it was, or what I sensed was they were learning how to interject thought of look here. And they were maneuvering our energy in a harmless way. And I strongly sensed Mama teaching them how to do this in a safe environment where if they were seen, they knew nothing was going to happen to them. But it was the craziest thing, and it's the only time it's ever happened.
That's crazy.
But
pretty smart like that.
Yeah, Mama was, I'm sorry, her energy was very, I used you. You know, I didn't care.
Hey, Rachel, can you explain how they laugh?
Junior doesn't, he's more of a, he's all grunt. Not a lot of personality in his laugh. If he laughs, it's more of a chuckle, and it's short. When Took laughs, but it's low. It's very low with Junior. When Took laughs, it's more of it's similar, and I don't know if that's a male-female thing. But when Lily laughs, she literally giggles. Mm-hmm. She literally giggles. Everything is funny to her. Everything. Aww. And she is so lighthearted. But they all have their own personality. There's some I've never heard laugh. Like Sobe, I've never heard him laugh. Wow. As often as he has communicated or at least let himself be known, I've never once heard him laugh.
Have you ever had any vocalizations that sounded mechanical? Kind of like that in the woods?
Well,
a little bit. What I was getting ready to say was Sobe, he makes this noise that sounds like, and it's kind of crude to say it, but it sounds like a whoopee cushion underwater.
That's not part.
But he's making it with his lips. He's not passing gas. He's like blowing raspberry kind of thing.
Only low. Mm-hmm.
But it's a really low.
That's cool.
Yeah, kind of like that.
Kind of like that, only lower. It's really hard to imitate. I don't even have the vocal cord. I mean, I don't even have the ability to do it.
Yeah, I've got a low voice, but I can't get that low.
Mm-hmm. I have to say, anytime you guys go out and you ring that dinner bell and you hear Junior in the back, whoop,
that's so funny.
You could just tell he is smiling from ear to ear.
Oh, yeah.
It's a game.
He's always the closest one. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? He's like right there waiting for you.
The one, Val, that's Sobe. He's more gray than he is white, but I kept feeling like he had either white on his face or something white, and I still haven't pinpointed exactly
Now, are you
if it's like a
asking?
birthmark or
Are you asking about the one picture in the intro of the white face that's in the log that's on the ground? Is that what they're asking about?
I think he's just, well, the other in the intro where there's Junior, there's a gray one, and we think that's Sobe, but all we can catch is his back because one's going left, one's going right. And I think they were just creating, I think Sobe was working on trying to create distraction for Junior, is what I think. Because Junior was being careless.
He's just as broad across the back as that image you captured in Idaho. He looks like
It's
a
massive
linebacker on
Massive.
steroids. You know, he's just huge.
You know
across
what?
the back.
And Val, you've got some great screenshots, and there's a couple that I've seen that I think are Sobe, and to look at him, he really looks intense and mean, and there's something about his features that are distinctly different. But he has the biggest heart. He is the sweetest thing. And if you do meet these people, do not assess them by their features, more by the feeling you get from them, because I'm telling you, the uglier they are or the harder they are to look at, the sweeter they are.
I have to agree. Fletch is the most intimidating looking. I mean, in the beginning, I used to call him Devil Boy because his facial features just looked like a cartoon devil. And you know what? He seems to be the most behaved. He never leaves his trash around.
That's so bad.
You know, he just comes, he gets his stuff out of the bucket, he takes it back to wherever. You know, I mean, Ken, you found a picture of him, and you're like, wow, he's got.
Yeah, he's got a kind of a schnoz going on.
Yeah,
some do.
Yeah, you know, he's the one coming up to the bush line and walking around and stuff like that, you know, and.
There was one point where I noticed in working with Anku's energy, all of a sudden I noticed that I was feeling him in a different way, almost as if it were me, but I knew it wasn't something I owned. I knew nothing had happened to cause me this sense of, it was almost anxiety or almost stress, but a little different. And it was when a lot of these things were going on this summer that were very difficult for them as a people. And, you know, I kind of asked or inquired, why am I feeling this? Why? And he said, now you understand the one heart. And I stopped and I chewed on that for a minute. And I thought, okay, as an empath, I can get around that. Shortly afterward, I was looking and finding images in some of the videos and photographs and things like this. And all of a sudden they started looking more human to me. And it was the weirdest thing because I knew they were the same energy. Energetically, it felt the same, but they were suddenly changing a little in the way they looked. So again, I asked him, I said, why am I seeing, why are you looking different? Or what am I seeing? He said, now you understand we're all the same. I was like, oh,
wow.
Okay.
Right.
Thanks.
Great.
Just thought I'd ask.
That's
It was
straightforward to the point.
It was profound, and if it left me speechless, it was
that was clear.
Yeah, got it. Yeah, that's, you know, that was the, you know, that was the answer to that question. He couldn't put it any other way. You know what I mean?
The way that we perceive, again, the way that we perceive.
That's right.
Is what we visually see.
And
I think so the closer we've gotten to them, the more that their personalities or their heart space or whatever you want to call it, their thinking become more and more similar.
Normal. Yeah. Just
normal to us. So we start seeing different things about them.
And I think that might have a lot to do with a lot of these people having these negative images and stuff of them. You know what I mean? It's because that's how they perceive them. You know what I mean?
And truthfully, to be fair, what have we had to work with?
Right. I mean, it's not like we could just walk out there, sit down with them, have a lunch, and, you know, go our separate ways like a bunch of buddies, you know, 20 years old, you know, I mean,
That's what we were touching on this last video that Rachel posted about the social conditioning. And this goes way beyond Bigfoot. You can apply it to everything that touches your life. But if you're told something repetitively long enough, whether it's true or not, you believe it to be fact. When 90% of the information coming out there is about something that's going to eat your face,
that's going to be the monster in the closet that you knew as a child, no matter what you do.
Right.
You know, and it does take, I mean, as open-minded as we are, it does take a certain amount of time or a certain amount of experience to change your mind. The mind is a powerful thing. Powerful thing.
Oh yeah, absolutely is. You know, I've heard of people thinking that they have a certain disease and they will actually give themselves the symptoms of having that disease.
Exactly. And
they go to the doctor. Doctor says, "No, you're fine." You know, I mean,
they literally think themselves into being physically sick with whatever disease.
That's right.
Your mind controls pretty much everything that biologically is going on in the rest of the downstairs. So,
yeah, I mean, it leads me to think that all of that, they say we only use what, 10 to 12% of our brain. So what's the other 88, 90% for? I think it was for something that we used way back when, and it's slowly been
knocked out of us.
Yeah. Well, not so much knocked out of us, but just kind of covered up with layers of paper. You know what I mean? And now once you start to open your mind and think about this stuff, you start peeling back those layers of paper, and then you have a whole new set of information. You get through that, and you peel another. You know, it's like a book, but there's information in between all the layers. You know what I mean? So.
He's been paying attention.
I'm pretty proud of it.
Thank you. Yeah, it's been quite the enlightening journey, and let me tell you, and I try and apply what I learn to everyday life. And you know, I mean, I see people differently. You know, I talk to people differently, but at the same time, it's like someone comes at me and I could just feel the vibe. I could feel the tone before they even say anything. And I already know how the way the conversation's going to go before even the first word is spoken, you know, and I can kind of prepare myself.
There's something very powerful about these people on a much bigger level that's very mirroring to who we are. They will pull out your biggest fears. They will pull out your greatest strengths. They will pull out things that you didn't even know existed about yourself. And I honestly feel like it falls into that teaching aspect of who they are. Now, that's not to say that there aren't those, we've talked about type 3s, that are kind of out of that vibration, you know, but as far as at least the type 1s and even some of the type 2s, I feel their true nature really is the teacher, the healer, the guardian. And I've kind of seen that they have really been trying to what's the word for it? Get back some of those that have fallen into the type 3 due to their own internal injury or historical story, their own, you know, they carry the same genetic pains we do. If they've had difficulty with mankind or with certain powers that be, they carry that injury. They are their own wounded warrior.
And they pass that on to their young. You know, they pass that on to their kids just like we do.
And we don't have to agree with that. Even Anku, and, you know, he said they don't agree with it at all. But there are some of those that they also can still see. And he shows it like an asterisk on some of our foreheads as people. And even some of their people have it. But it's a certain... It reminds me of a star, but it's an asterisk with several points. At
See,
least
to be determined.
Talking about my forehead again.
that light. But they can even see which ones still stand hope, which ones and it's almost a sense of a retrieval, not to lose these people to those darker energies any more than we should lose our own. They don't quit caring about their people just because they're in this place at this moment, because they can still see their truth about them just like they can see our truth. And it's a powerful thing. It's not something I've found myself delving deeply into because it's actually very emotional to them. Definitely very emotional to Anku when he presents it. And I just feel like they don't want to lose one. And they don't want us to lose one to the lies either.
That's right.
I have a question, Christy.
They don't like the way people do things.
Mm-mm.
They don't like the way we think of the woods, of how we think of other people. They don't judge people. They look at everything as one. And I was taught by somebody else that told me that this is a learning planet for everything. You know?
Yeah, and Anku had shown that there is representation of every type of life that exists on this planet. Whether it's a tree, a plant, a stone, everything that's here has a form of consciousness, and it has been given to us as a living library.
Exactly.
We just have forgotten how to
open the book.
Open that book.
Start peeling back the pages.
And it's sad. I mean, to a degree, you got these people that go out in the woods that want to go obtain information, want to go take pictures, want to do this and want to do that. They don't want that. You know, it should be that people should, if they want to know who they are, they need to look at themselves and go into the woods and see if they want to be chosen.
How is that any different than any other human being that you know? Would you want to be studied and analyzed and probed and inspected and judged up and down? They're the same way. I'll open right up and gladly share if you approach me in the manner of friendship.
And exactly. They want to share and they do want to be known, but they're not guinea pigs.
But not in the way that other people see them. I mean, just sitting back and looking at these people. Well, I'm going out in the woods. I'm going to go get a picture of them. I'm going to do that. That's just disturbing.
Now, we've taken our share of video and pictures, but we've also met an agreement because of, and this is strictly because of Anku's position with our collective little group.
Exactly.
In his desire to teach. He understands that's a means for him to occasionally interject or be a part of our world without the stigmata that's attached to his appearances it's just the sense that he can be himself without being under that scrutiny.
Exactly.
So
not judging
I'll take the scrutiny for him. I'd rather that for me, because we can handle each other as people.
Yeah.
But I don't know that any of us, well, very many of us, could handle one standing in front of us and giving us that exact same message without having all this visual in our way.
Or having to clean their shorts afterwards.
Here. Just don't wear shorts when you go out there.
It's I've said this for a long time and stuff, like Christy said, the people that go out there trying to find them, now I'm going to take a picture, now I'm going to do this. Well, they go out with that intent. They can pick up on our intent, obviously.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, they're going to stay away. You know what I mean? I've said this for a very long time. You don't have to go out there looking for them. they'll find you.
Yeah, they'll find you.
If you're in the right frame of mind, in the right energy set, everything, they will go out of their way to find you.
That's right. You
They
know,
will
I
find,
mean,
they'll find your little moving your bucket spot too.
If you
Yeah.
go out there if you go out there with an agenda of trying to trap something to, you know, score something, I got this picture, now I got it, and all this other stuff, you might as well be peeing in a fan. It's not gonna work.
yeah.
Nope.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
You know, I mean, you get all these people that go out 20 miles out in the woods and stuff like that looking for them, and it's like, well, you just passed all of them on the way in about the first mile, so
They were on the
what
edge
are
of
you
the-
doing out there? You know what I mean?
They
Yeah,
were
they're
on the
looking
edge
over your
of the
fence.
campground.
You know?
Yeah, they
It's
were all hanging out at the edge of the campground watching the people come and go.
Yep.
That's right.
And then they eat all the
Yeah.
food out of what they left behind.
Yeah. You know, waiting for that campsite to clear out, and they go,
Yep.
all right, it's clear. Let's go see what we can find. You know?
Yeah,
Oh.
Ken took those hot sausages to Junior. I said, now what are you going to do when you go the next time you don't have them with you? You're in trouble.
Oh, my goodness. No kidding. Then you're going to wish you were probed.
Probably not, but
you hear, where's my hot sausage?
Yeah, where's my sausage?
Yeah, we graduated from sardines to hot sausage. We're in trouble.
well, just one.
Have you
more
tried
call.
have you tried honey buns with them?
Yeah.
Did they like it?
Oh yeah.
Oh,
We try not to, we try to really minimalize the sweets because I haven't gotten anything that says that it hurts them for all the more we're actually taking in their body size and so on. But we don't.
A Ziploc baggie full of stuff for them would be like giving you one sugar cube. It's not gonna make a dent. You know.
No,
But we
Yeah.
don't want them addicted to that to where they're going to bypass, say, the fruit or something
Right.
healthier like fish, you know.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
and they love fish. They absolutely love fish.
But I will tell you this from last night's walk, trying out the new camera, they definitely had a Christmas party at that tree.
Yeah.
Did they leave you any?
Every-
Did they leave you any
every day.
gifts?
Well,
It
we
was
didn't-
dark. I don't know. I saw enough trash. I said we're going to have to come back in the daytime to make sure we haven't missed it.
Oh, God.
That's,
Like you don't have a bunch of trash cans
that's
out there.
tomorrow's adventure.
And some of them, I think a couple of them are using the bucket that we've taken out there for trash, but the majority of them are just
Oh, that's cool.
Eat it and
sitting
drop
right
it.
there. Yeah.
Eat
They-
it and drop it.
We found a load of it up on the hill. I think 2 or 3 of them are going because it'll be a couple of 3 spots. And it feels like they're just sitting in that same little area.
That's cool.
Somebody's
Yeah,
with part of it, like the popcorn bags. I have not found a popcorn bag for almost 2 months now,
Probably
Wow.
longer than that.
Oh,
maybe longer. Have no
Yeah,
idea.
it's a
I'm gonna
lot
try
like Fletch's
popcorn.
area, you know. I mean, he don't leave his trash around. He come gets his stuff out of the bucket and he takes it somewhere.
Yeah.
And I have an idea where it is, but I'm not going to go back there because that's his space. That's his safe place. You know what I mean? And I respect that, but I could just imagine walking back there and just finding a whole big pile of bags. You know?
Well, I'm thinking whichever one is getting the popcorn now, since those paper bags are saturated with butter and salt, probably just eating the whole thing. You know?
oh my
Probably.
goodness.
Ew.
Ew.
If they can digest
The bag
wood,
and
they can
everything.
digest that bag. That's
Yeah, I mean that's flavor, man. Don't give up the flavor. You
Nah.
gotta,
Well,
I'd eat the bag if it didn't kill me.
one time we had a bag and apparently not all of the popcorn popped the way that they thought it should. And we were walking out and right on the trail was literally enough to put
a slobbery
handful-
handful of popcorn.
right in one
unpopped.
ball, way away from the tree, just to make sure we would see it. All these kernels in a little mound.
It's just like they dumped the bag of popcorn in their mouth, chewed up what they wanted, and then spit out all the kernels
and
in
then
one wet
carried them and put
handful,
them to make
and
sure we knew.
dropped it.
this
That's
was an issue. Did not
That's,
eat it.
I don't like it.
Fire.
that's hilarious.
That's funny.
But most of the time, if anything disagrees with them, that's probably the biggest thing I remember them actually making an issue of were those
That and those
kernels.
green grapes.
Oh yeah, and the grapes that were sour. Did not like that.
I
Now,
think mine are getting burned out on the bananas, and I was like, it's odd that I'm finding all the bananas everywhere now. So let's go ahead and get something else. So I put pears out this week.
And I don't know. Maybe Mama's taking the bananas when we do take them for the little ones back in her area, because we don't find we find nothing.
I didn't find anything this whole time until the last 2 weeks. Now and then yesterday, all the bananas were just on the ground, not even touched. So I'm like, maybe they don't want the bananas no more. So let's put some pears in there.
That might work.
Ours are definitely not picky eaters. They could pretty much whatever you take out there.
Mine are. Mine absolutely are. I mean, I don't think so much big feller, but Fletch is kind of a mama's boy, I guess you could say. And Mercy's just a princess. Mm-hmm. If she don't like it, she'll just dump it in a pile on the ground and drop the bag.
Yeah, I don't put food out there that much because they come out of hiding when I'm there. Nah, I ain't having that. Oh my gosh, they come out and I'm like, I'm leaving. My day's done. Yeah. And Kevin, I checked that place with the this app, the leaf, the plant thing identifier.
Yeah.
And I heard that Bigfoot eating wood. There's no municipal value of these plants that was in that area. They're
really?
Just eating wood.
Needed
really
fiber.
Maybe it's just roughage for their stomach. Yeah.
Probably. Yeah, but it wasn't for anything like like you were saying, mosquitoes, or there was no value to them. You just click and eat them.
Well, I mean, Lewis, a while back, me and you met a guy named Mike that lives down in your area, and he went out to your area. And what was the email we got back?
Yeah, he's never going back because there was something running around down there.
Oh, cool. Never going back there again. Never going back there again. And
why glyphs? Oh, okay.
Oh.
The whys are friendship. Either they perceive they have a friendship with you, or they're requesting to develop a friendship with you.
And that depends on how the Y is placed. If it's made out of a solid fork branch, that means they've already made that connection, or they perceive that connection. If it's made from two separate limbs that aren't quite touching each other, but
they're go ahead,
kind of like off to one side or another, then that means they're wishing for that too.
Where they have, let's say it's a straighter stick and they bring one in at an angle to create a Y, and they're just touching, but it's not one branch. The way that that's been shown is that they're asking or requesting to develop a friendship.
I'm going to put one all over where I go then.
And if you find it that looks like it's literally made like a slingshot where it's broke on all 3 points and it's a Y laying there, that means they already consider you their friend.
After we did that video, it was the funniest thing because right in the path where we always go in the same way. So we've become too predictable to them, I'm sure. But right in the path, there was an X, and on one end of the X, they took, so it was a long branch on a Y, is what I should say, and then they crossed the bottom of it with the branch to make the X. It was all one
long
glyph.
Unit. Yeah.
But it was really cool because it was their way of confirming what we had just been given to present the day before. And they, the X being the people. And, the X used to be, back in ancient days, used to be a cross. And
That's right.
The way that Ankush showed it is it actually means with God.
Or unity.
Or unity. If you find an X that's got a line through it, a lot of times those are protective. And it's to say that there's something there that disrupts that unity or is against God, if you will, or against that harmonic unison.
No, you're not talking about the asterisk. You're talking about.
I'm not talking about the standard asterisk. But a lot of people all of a sudden are finding whys, and I think it's fantastic.
You know, after seeing that episode of all the glyphs and stuff with the Y and everything, I don't know if anybody had seen mine, but I went out and I put a Y out there, and I did the solid Y, and I set it on top of the bucket. That following weekend, it's almost like it was just taken off and gently set to the side, standing with the Y up.
Mm-hmm.
Perfectly, just like they just set it down, got their
miss
stuff.
Didn't want you to miss it.
You know, I mean.
And this week when we went out there, they had moved all of the miscellaneous small sticks and left Ys everywhere, like less than 2 feet apart, everywhere we went on the path. I think they were just all showing off and having fun is what I think. But it was really neat to see them coming back. And that's why I say they're very reflective of what you're putting out there too. Mm-hmm. They will confirm or deny whatever you give.
Now those two zaps, you guys had zaps. There was two occasions I remember you guys had lights go off in the night. Remember? You had one that took off to the side and another one that twirled around.
Oh,
is there a difference between those two? Because one of them shut your camera off. The other one, I don't know. Did it shut your camera off on that one too, or
that one didn't? Right then, immediately we had the camera drainage on 2 different times while we were videotaping out there
at night. Yeah, the same kind of zaps or something. What the first one looked like, something left. That's what
the first one, if I'm thinking of the same one you're talking about, was kind of a gold color.
Yeah, and it started right in the middle of the screen.
They wouldn't know what color it was. It was in black and white.
It was like right there in the center.
Light.
Oh, okay. I'm remembering it was gold.
You remember it in real
it was
time.
Massive.
And I wasn't wearing my glasses, so I couldn't tell anything, but I just saw light.
Just right in front of us and went up at an angle.
That's that little piece of video clip that's in that opening video.
And the way that
it shoots up off the ground.
The way that Anku had shown that when went back, because a lot of people were concerned, was that the people doing that too, because Ken had really felt especially zapped by that. Of course, the brunt of it started right next to him or in front of him and kind of then shot off in front of me more at an angle. But,
it's like it all came to a point right off my left side and shot right up in front of me. It literally at the closest point I could have just barely reached out and touched it where it originated from.
And the way that Ankud explained it was that there were these energies. Now they often will shield or guard portals if they especially already know that something negative uses them or something that can be harmful to us as far as dimensionals go. The way that it was reasonably explained was that these energies were not known to be harmful, but they were presenting themselves as harmful in our space. So to these people or to their normal environment, they were not something that was perceived as harmful. But what they were doing that night, apparently, he was explaining that they were trying to attach to our energetic field as a means of eating energy. They didn't care if it was good energy or bad energy. They just wanted to eat energy. And I don't know that I personally have ever experienced anything like that. But Anku was there, probably the way that
30, 40 feet back into the edge of the brush, and you could literally feel the ground vibrate when he stomped his foot.
And the way that he showed it was he was more in his energetic body than he was his physical body, but he was kind of in a semi-state. But he showed that he just out of instinct raised his right foot, stomped the ground.
And it dispersed.
And shot those energies up and out of our space. Well, then It took another couple of weeks because with Ken feeling sick, he thought he had caused it. And really, we don't know that some of the effect could have been from his actions. But ultimately, if it was for our safety, who can be mad about that?
Right.
You know, and it took me 2 weeks to tell him, get back here. We're fine. We might not be fine if it weren't for you. So, you know, but they have conscience. These people have conscience.
Oh yeah. Like they got bigger conscience than human, I think. You know, I mean, obviously.
Now the second set of orbs that we came across.
Was that right before Halloween or Halloween?
I thought it was right after Halloween. It was a night walk, but we had gotten.
I kept seeing some plasma looking stuff hanging in the brush and the bushes there, and started walking up toward it. And once again, it just kind of manifested out of that. And
it was like 3 or 4.
Shot around and then took off.
3
Is
or
that the
4.
one coming out of the tree?
Yeah.
The one that came out of the tree? Oh.
Yeah, it was probably about chest high, I guess, is where it started. You know, it really started from. But when we first noticed it, like a clear gelatin with a little bit of a glow to it is what we could see from a distance. And as
we just started walking toward it without considering where we were walking.
I called it plasma or plasm or whatever on the video when I first saw it. That's what it reminded me of, something like a glowing plasm.
And a lot of times in the daytime, we are more cognizant of where we're stepping and what we're seeing. At night, we have to be very careful, and that's what happened that night because we were back in an area. That's where that kind of creepy trail cam pic had come from, where that whatever was hanging from the tree. We don't even know to this day what that was. It wasn't the people. But there's an area back there that has a variety of energies. And I think what we did was we just stepped into someplace we normally don't frequent. You know, we were so absorbed with trying to figure out what we were seeing, we weren't paying attention to where we were stepping.
You'll see when you watch tomorrow's video that that's going to kind of be alleviated. We've got a lot more ability to see in the dark.
Yeah. But
now.
And I think it was just, it could have been elemental energy or just residual nature spirits. And we just caught them off guard because they know our system as well, you know, that we normally are not a threat to their areas. We normally don't go into those areas, but in seeing that, we weren't even thinking. So bad on us for not paying attention.
That's interesting, you know, I mean, because you don't normally go into certain areas, and I don't normally go into certain areas, you know, it's just kind of like, okay.
I'm not afraid to walk back there by any means. There's places where we know that that's kind of like their living room or their bedroom. And we just try to give them their space to.
You know, that's the same way I think about it. You know, I mean, well, that's their space back there. They, you know, I'm not going to go back there. You know,
I mean, the whole idea of this is to meet in that mutual middle, and not keep pushing.
That's right.
Yeah, we don't want them to ever feel like their back's against the wall as far as our interaction with them.
Yeah.
If they give us the sense, you know, because sometimes when we're walking back there, we kind of feel like we're being taken into an area.
Yeah,
and
guided.
There's something to be seen or something specific about it. And there's a lot of areas now that we feel really comfortable being in, that when we first started exploring, it was like, nope.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, that's how I did too. And I didn't understand it when I first started doing this stuff. And that's what they were telling me, not to go in a certain area. And I didn't understand it at the time, but I can feel it. Like, you know, I would look in that area like with some kind of intimidation or, you know, like, you know, don't go up there, you know, and I never did. And that was weird. Now that I know that's where they stay,
once again, just on a human comparison, if you go to a person's house, you're welcome in the living room, you're welcome in the kitchen and the bathroom.
Yeah.
You normally don't go prodding and poking around in somebody's bedroom or their private den,
Right.
without being asked into that space. So
yeah,
that's right.
Yeah.
Yep.
But they've been really patient and good with us. You know, I think they've been forgiving of things that maybe in certain circumstances could make some more aggressive, or, you know, Mama's really good about bringing the babies around us, but I think because of Junior and the twins, I think she feels very secure with that now, you know.
it's going to be an entirely different game on this next couple of weeks because the dog just got a new bag full of toys.
Oh, yay.
2 months have been quiet because they've all been cleaned out. They've all been drug out to the woods. So
oh my gosh.
now he's got new ones. So we'll see what happens with that.
You've only found a couple of the toys, right?
I found 3 or 4 of the balls. We found
The golf ball.
a bunch of the golf balls. That dog likes golf balls. He'd rather play with a golf ball than anything else. So
That's
That-
right.
Took that Chewbacca out there and had found it. We were looking for the teddy bear and the plastic toys still. They're kind of like a Connects. So we don't know
the
exactly
box
what
of
they've done with
Connects,
that.
I don't know where that box of Connects is at. But, you know, the rawhide, if we take the rawhide out and throw a big rawhide bone out for the dog to play with, he'll play with it while he's outside. Then when he comes in, he leaves it lay out there in the yard. We go back out the next day and it's gone.
Oh my gosh.
You know, so
It's a lot like LA Swamp Ape and the ones that are coming to his backyard. He's got 2 German Shepherds and stuff, and they used to go running back there barking all the time. And then the Bigfoot started throwing dog bones, like rawhides and stuff like that. And then the dogs would just look at him, look down, lay down, start chewing on it, and they were quiet after that, you know?
I kind of wonder if maybe they've done something with him to try to entice him or get him to come closer, you know.
I said he doesn't seem to be afraid of him. We're going to find out. I'll get that harness completed and get the bracket made on it. I'll stick that little camera on and let him run around.
You may want to put that tracker in there too.
Yeah.
Well, for the dog's safety, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I know where the dog's gonna be.
You know,
carried
at
off
least
to.
that way, you know, if he doesn't come back for any reason. I mean, I'm not saying them. I'm just saying there's a lot of other things out there. At least you have something to go by, you know?
Yeah, it's highly possible that dog will hit the ground and never stop and just keep on running.
right through.
They never camera.
I'm free. See ya.
I had an English pointer that was like that. You'd take him out in the truck to go quail hunt and open the box up. As soon as his feet hit the ground, you might as well go take a nap because he's not going to quit running for 4 hours.
Horrible dog. But no, we've been really lucky, and the night walks have been good, and some of them in the new areas have been really kind of get your blood pumping a little bit, because this last time they were really close. I mean,
that now that we're at the end of the year and we can get out there a little bit more in the daytime and move around in that spot, I think it's going to really be something to see when we get deeper into it. Is just getting the grunts and the growls and vocals we got the first few times out. They're not afraid to get close. Yeah.
And as soon as we did get out there in the daytime after that nighttime experience where we sensed her and maybe a young one with her, I mean, as soon as we showed up, and I know it sounds crazy, but as soon as we got there up into that spot, she was just choo-choo-choo, I mean, in my ear. Could not wait to communicate. So these people are changing. I think they are truly appreciating any of us that do accept them for who they are. And I think they really are trying to do everything in their power to form those relationships or those bonds where they can, you know. And
You got Christy over there patting her little Bigfoot like a baby. It's absolutely true. I mean, if you go out there and stuff, you know, oh, I'm going to go shoot one. I mean, they're going to come at you aggressively. If you go out there going, I know they're here, but I'm just going to sit here and let them come investigate me. Then, you know, they pick up on that, and they'll slowly come closer and closer and closer over time. You know, it takes time, you know.
With her, she just felt like it was really important to her to explain her actions, to explain herself. And maybe because she sensed I don't know that we felt afraid, but we definitely backed off because we didn't want, you know, it wasn't a space we frequented, number one. If a mom of any variety has a young one and doesn't know who's in their space, it could not be, I mean, it could be a bad night. Yeah. But, and she just kept coming closer and closer to us. And so interpreting that for that moment was, you know, is that a defensive measure? Is that a curiosity measure? What exactly is going on?
I'm sure they probably at this point don't know which end is up to make of us, because we've been out there with the spirit box and the EMF meter doing all that stuff. And they go, what in the hell are these hairless monkeys up to now? You know?
So they're looking for the probe. They're like, should we run now?
I'm curious what
I want to intercept with that. I think the ones that know you, I think they become protective over you.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Very.
Probably, yeah.
Very.
For sure.
So too.
Yeah. And even doing, you know, exploring some of the EVPs that we got out there, the male that's over that, so to speak, he was very present, very close, no fear. And I had kind of cheated before we went out there the first time and asked if Anku wouldn't maybe put in a good word, you know, because it's not frequented by people. It's not, I don't know. It's not close to a place like ours.
I mean, the people that have that, they hunt on it when it's hunting season. The house is, you know, fairly far off away from where we were at. But
most of the time, if they're in that environment, they're hunting or they're sending that message that that's what they're about.
But that's pretty much all they ever use it for. And the rest of the time, they're rarely ever out there. They hardly go outside of the moat area, you know. So,
but from the first night we went up there after putting that out, and I just said, you know, if it's possible for you to communicate, just let them know we're not there to hurt anybody. We're just, you know, exploring these EVPs. And it just seemed like immediately there was a huge difference between them and establishing a relationship with ours, in the sense that they were immediately in our space. And I couldn't help but feel that he had told them, or somehow, you know, and they kind of work on a different, I don't know, more collective. They say if one knows you, they all know you. I think there's some truth in that. But from the first time we went out there, they were really present, really close. And I was shocked with this female as to just how close she was willing to be, just because she was curious about what we were doing. They're not family by like relation or blood, but Anku relays that they're of a same tribe. Like they do know each other, but they're not family.
I want to get out there and hike around, because I know that there's, just by looking at it from the, like Google Earth looking down, I'm pretty sure there's a few caves out there, and I want to really, really check it out. So it's hard telling.
Probably just on the other side of that swamp or something, huh?
Well, when we did that Light of Day video, where I'm panning across that great big wide expanse up the slope of that other hill, down farther, there's some places, some outcroppings, and I think there's some caves up underneath that. So
I ain't doing any more cave hunting, I tell you that.
Oh yeah,
I'm not coming over.
Oh, come on, Lewis. Why not?
Died twice.
I think his caves are going to be a lot easier to get to than mine.
I don't know. You just said across the swamp, and there are probably alligators in there.
Yeah, yours. You have to be marathon trained to get to yours.
I know.
Oh, it literally took us 100 feet of rope, and I think it took us 4.5 hours to get to it. And we had to
I was crawling on
the rope.
I was crawling on the bushes, not underneath.
Yeah, we had to loop the rope around a tree, put the knot down at the end, go down 50 feet, untie it, retie it. I think we had to do that 4 or 5 times.
Mm-hmm.
And then we finally got down to the bottom to where the bushes were so thick, we were literally army crawling across the top of them.
Oh, yeah.
And I have a picture of Lewis from that day sitting in front of that cave, fiddling with this tripod and his camera. And I sent it to him. And he's all, oh, it's a cool picture. So then I sent him another one. Literally probably a minute and a half later in the video. And he just sends me back, oh, hell no. And you can see big feller in Mercy, literally 8 to 10 feet to our left, to the left of where we made that trail on top of the bushes, looking at us going, hey, what are you doing over there? The buckets are over there. You know?
Great entertainment for them for the afternoon.
That was crazy. And I didn't hear them coming. They followed us all the way there.
Yep.
They'd laugh me right off the planet.
You were right there, and nothing happened.
You know,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, they were just trying to watch us die up there, trying to get up there. You could have just picked us up and moved us.
If you'd have felt one kind of scratching at your buttocks while you were laying down.
I thought it was a stick.
Yeah.
Thought it was a stick. You know?
Ooh, wait, come here. Let me scratch it for you.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, and from the moment Lewis walked in right there, I mean, he literally stopped. He turned to his left. He's all, no, there's something about this side of the hill.
And that was
And
right at
that
the
whole
entrance.
hillside is their side. That's where they hang out. They hang out that whole hillside. And I'm going, oh yeah, they know we're here. Watch, they'll follow. Watch. We walked down and started walking the trails, and they followed us all the way. And then we strayed from the plan that I usually do. I usually just go up. I go do Fletch's bucket. I'll hang out for a little bit. Go over to Mercy's, fill their bucket, hang out for a little bit, and I'll leave. I'll let them do their thing, you know? This time we had bypassed all of that.
Are we talking hair? I'm sorry, hair color of the people or hair color of our people?
The Squatches.
The Squatches. Do you believe that? I've heard people say that the black ones were aggressive.
I don't know.
We have kind of a variety of colors.
I don't think the hair color really has anything to do with that. I think it's just all in their personal attitude or experience.
Who they are.
But you know what they say about redheads?
Yeah, they're always mean.
Red on the head, fire in the bed.
There you go.
Oh, geez.
Rachel's rubbing her head going, oh my God, what did I walk into today?
Nobody unsubscribed. Please. Nobody unsubscribed.
Your time is coming.
This all got but change of subject real quick. Dug that hole right in.
That used to be as red as yours.
Yeah,
I don't think that the hair color on the Sasquatch matters to
what we have noticed are toes, though. The 5-toed seem to be
more normal.
More normal, yeah. However that row. 3s and 4s.
The 4-toed are kind of in between.
They're kind of like a either or, depending on their family environment and upbringing.
And we've had
sometimes there's inbreeding.
We had one set of tracks early on that it looked like a deformity, that it looked like a 3-toed. But I know that 3-toed ones have been reported in other parts of the country. but I think they're the crayon eaters instead of the picture drawers, you know.
And that was back when we were kind of feeling something wonky going on out there for a couple of weeks.
Right.
And we're thinking that maybe there was a little resolution that had to be, they had to clear some house because something was trying to either move in or I don't know. I'm just.
Didn't Anku have to step in on that?
That's what she's talking about there for a couple of weeks. We had tried to go down there and do one of the first night videos down there.
Yeah.
And we weren't in the woods 10 minutes, and it just felt like they had their hands on the backs of our necks and just ever so gently walked us out of the woods.
Yeah. And that was a time that we heard kind of a metallic sound. We were talking about vocals and whether or not there was a kind of a mechanical sound.
Well, this wasn't mechanical as much as it was like screeching against metal sound.
But there was something that was just off out there. I don't know what was going on. I don't want to know, and it hasn't happened since. But there was something definitely going on.
Yeah, I get mechanical noises too, but I know it's them because it's right there, and you don't hear cars going by. I can hear cars go by, and I know it's them doing it because when they go over across the bridge, it goes doo doo. And I didn't hear any of that. I just heard just them making a noise. That's really strange.
Well, they're great imitators. I mean, they're
good.
One of the things that they've really started doing lately is like popping. You hear like a pop sound.
I'm gonna let him out.
She's got to let the dog out real quick. So it's just now I get to tell on her.
Well, we had Carl on the show. What is it? 2 weeks ago, and I was explaining how I heard this noise and went woo 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 like that.
Mm-hmm. It was like if you take a boomerang, put it on a piece of string, twirl it around real quick. That whoa, 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 whoa,
right.
Whoa, whoa.
Yeah.
Oh my God, he played that, and I'll tell you what, she went nuts. She went absolutely nuts. Yeah.
Yeah.
She went absolutely nuts. She told him, don't turn it off. Turn it off. I can't. Nope. So I don't know what that noise is, but
the tone of it, what you're hearing is the vibration off the infrasound.
Oh, that's what that was? Okay.
You're hearing that. You feel it almost more than you hear it, but that whoop, 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 whoop. But
yeah, that's it. So is that good or bad?
Well, it depends on their intentions.
How'd you feel afterwards? Did you feel nauseous?
Yeah.
No, I didn't get sick. When I was laying in the bed, getting ready to go to bed, and that's when I heard the whoop, 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 coming up to the window. But the one that Carl had was a lighter monotone. The one I heard was deeper and guttural.
Mm-hmm.
And probably just a bigger.
Depending on the way that they use it, there's certain pitches inside of that infrasound range, and the lower down that it goes, the more disturbing effect that it has on people in general.
Well, it was like dread. It was like, I'm here, I'm coming. It's not like a blast where, like I said, normally it would give you a headache, make your stomach hurt, make you throw up, but that's not the way it felt. It was more like, I am here, I'm letting you know I'm here. But it's like, woo, 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 woo,
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I wish you guys would have seen her reaction. It was nuts.
Sometimes they'll do that in a manner that causes you to almost freeze, like going catatonic.
No, I didn't do that.
They'll use that on, say, a deer or something like that to get it to freeze and hold tight so they can.
Oh, there, go get it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So anyway, what I was going to tell you while she was out of the room, but now she's back in the room.
Oh man,
I'm going to tell you anyway. Friday is her birthday, so
Ooh.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday!
I don't even know what day it is today.
New Year's Eve.
I'm in denial.
You're gonna be 20. You're gonna be 23, right?
That's right.
She's-
No, I'll be 53 this year.
No,
I'm
you'll be
celebrating it.
You'll be 35. You got to turn it backwards because once you hit that certain age, you turn the numbers backwards.
Okay. We'll go with that. And then I'll
10 years ago, she made me buy 2 candles, a 3 and a 2. She didn't care how I put them on the cake, either 32 or 23, but those are the only candles I can use.
You can only go 3 as a number or 2 as a number. It's as high. Anything below that is okay also.
The kids always get mad at me when they bring up my birthday. I'm like, I'm not talking about it. We're not having this conversation. But Mom, I said, nope. But no, I'm grateful. I'm grateful for every day I've had.
Oh, so are we. We're all grateful to have you show us your experience and your wonderful extended family out in the forest, and you know, grace us with your incredible abilities.
You can see the knothead dog behind me.
Yep.
His real name is Ass Rocket.
Ass Rocket.
Like he's got a
At
rocket.
least it's not Red Rocket.
Yeah.
That is his official name.
Oh my goodness!
But
Imagine going in the middle of town yelling that.
he's got that
Which is why you shortened it to Rocket.
He's got that harness on and getting him used to it. So
We had some EVP translated, and actually the EVPs that we've gotten have been in English. The problem is in the speed and the pitch. And Mercury 80, who's a sound genius, she's actually got a bit of a sound studio. And when I'll get my basic interpretation of what I think is being said, but she converts it. And we actually had this conversation about the pitch, and she had been putting it in E. And lo and behold, the next time I communicated with Anku, he started talking about pitch, and he said, "Don't you think D would be better?" And I'm like, really? Am I the only one that's not in the middle of this?
It's like, I'll let her know.
But we took some of the audio that we had gotten in the EVP, and we messed with it. And when I did put it in D, I think it needs to be an octave higher, but when I put it in the low D, it literally sounds like what we hear in the woods by way of grumble growl, that real low, deep. Ken and I just looked at each other like, oh my God, you know?
Wow.
So it's really interesting.
if you raise the speed pitch up, then it almost sounds like regular normal words. Whatever.
But I think they truly understand the use of vibration and how they can. They were even making mention that we had found. What did they call it? They had a specific name for it, but it would be equivalent to saying, now your technology, basically now you have something that works. Now you have something we can use.
That's cool.
But it's labor intensive. I mean, there's a lot to it.
So essentially what you're saying is their growls and their grunts sound like growls and grunts to us.
Your ear.
It's actually words.
Yes.
They may very possibly be communicating to us in English.
Well, I'm not going to say that every growl and grunt is an actual word. It might just be growl or grunt. But sometimes if you're able to play with the speed and pitch of it, you'll actually hear normal words in it.
Now, their verbiage is a little bit different in the way that they communicate. It's not quite like Yoda, but
somewhat. But,
somewhat in the way that they place the verbs and the nouns and so on. But yeah, it's really fascinating.
cool.
And it makes us wonder if we're not a little closer than we realize in being able to communicate with them.
Mm-hmm. I had some pops like you were talking about before, and some pop rock sounds that you were creating. And I sounded like they were breaking like the little straw, but it really sounded like if you put pop rocks in your mouth and it made it, and you hear that crackling. They do that, and I didn't know what it was until just recently on a recording that they did a different pop noise like you guys are talking about. They, like that.
Yeah, I mean, we've heard the tongue clicking and all of that, but this is like holding your mouth hollow open and cheek popping or something.
Yeah, they did something with their tongue or something. I'm not sure, but yeah, it sounded poppy.
That's how I would be able to make a sound similar to it. I don't know exactly how they're making that sound, but it's
they got bigger mouths, bigger tongues, and who knows what they can do. Yeah. But yeah, they get some weird noises.
It might just be Junior blowing bubbles after all that cabbage too. I don't know. So.
Belly rubs.
I read that in the chat. And I'm smiling. I'm trying not to laugh. And I don't know why, but I could just picture Ken out there in the backyard. Junior on the ground. Ken rubbing his belly. Junior
one leg going crazy.
like tickling a little kid,
I have to tell you the story, and it's coming to my mind, so I don't know if somebody's wanting me to tell this story. I know it's not Ken whispering in my ear, but we were going to what do you call it? Sasquatch convention.
Oh, over
Bigfoot convention over on the border of Oklahoma. This was a couple months back. So as we were getting ready to leave.
While she's telling that story, I'm going to step out for a second.
But as we were getting ready to leave, I heard a grunt by the drive of the house, and I recognized it immediately as Junior. And I thought, oh, well, what's he doing? And it was broad daylight, early morning. And he said, I'm going with you. And I said,
how are you?
Really? And I'm thinking, because we're taking the pickup truck, and I'm thinking, well, I guess if he wants to ride in the back, or I don't know, not sure what the weight capacity is here, but give it a go. And
we're gonna test that out.
I told you before, SoCal, that I'd had pictures taken in my vehicle, which is a lot smaller than the truck, so I don't put anything past him.
Right.
So I told him, I said, that's fine if you can behave yourself. This is when they're family, because you treat them like your children. Right. I said, if you can behave yourself, come on. So I told Ken when he came out, I said, I think we've got company. And he said, really? And I told him about it. He said, okay. And we're driving, and it took probably an hour longer than what we originally thought it was going to, but we were winding around through forestry, and you couldn't go more than 25, 30 miles an hour. So we're talking the whole time about what we're anticipating and maybe what conversations we might be able to have, all the good stuff, completely forgetting that we might have company. We get there and we park, and we're literally out in the country, and we're facing a cow pasture. And I looked at Ken, and he looked at me. We both kind of scratched our heads. And to be fair, it was Sunday afternoon, so it was the end of their 3 days. But there was nobody there. Maybe 6 tables set up, and almost all of, no, that's not right. Probably 7 or 8, but at least 6 were selling T-shirts. But when we went to get out of the truck, I clearly sensed Junior again. And again, can I come with you? And he's extremely respectful for being the age that he is. I'm good with that. And I thought, okay, please don't knock anything over. Please don't knock anybody's displays. Please
Don't step on anybody's feet.
mind yourself. Follow quietly. Come on. So we paid our entrance fee just to do the deed. We knew we were probably going to make the circle, and really that would be that. So we get all the way back to the truck, and as clear as a bell, I hear, well, where are they? And I said, where are who? And he said, the people. And I said, what? He said, the other Bigfoot, the other Sasquatch. And it dawned on me this whole time he's been listening in on our conversations about this by whatever measure they use. And he genuinely thought it was a Bigfoot convention and we were going to meet other Bigfoot. And I sat there and went, oh my God. And how do you explain this to a baby? I mean, what I call a baby. And I said, yeah, well, we're kind of disappointed too. But he said, it's all right.
None of them made it.
He said, it's all right. It's a beautiful day. And we get ready to leave. Well, about 30 minutes away from there, we're going through some really dense forestry. There's nowhere to pull off. And probably a lot of it's still private ground. But it was beautiful. And I'm kind of looking out the window thinking to myself, this looks really squatchy. It's a shame we can't check it out.
Yeah, I thought we were having something going on with the suspension or drive shaft or whatever, because the truck starts shaking.
And all of a sudden, I see Junior in my mind's eye doing this out the back window. And I'm like, who?
Like, stop.
Well, that's what I thought. And I said, who are you waving at? And he said, didn't you see them? And I said, no, I'm sorry. And I just quit. I quit right there all the way home. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what to say to him because I felt really stupid at that moment. Like, I should have seen them. I'm sorry.
You know, it's not like you can just stop the truck and say, okay, you can have an hour to go play with your new friends.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? You know, I mean. But
it was just, I'm not.
Yeah, officer pulls up. What are you doing, sir? Letting my pet Sasquatch go out and play.
Right.
For a while. Needs a potty break.
It was really quite the day. Unfortunately, not something we normally deal with, but it just broke my heart when he actually thought he was going to meet other
Bigfoot.
And I had no words for him. I had no explanation except, yeah, we're disappointed too, buddy.
So that, I mean, as big as he is, I mean, he's got what? The mentality of what, a 7 or 8 year old?
Well, we're thinking he's
around 12, somewhere right in there.
Now we're still deducing whether the years that they give us
are exact to ours or off by just a little bit,
or
he knows
like the opposite of dog years.
Right? Maybe.
Can you tell by foot size how old they are? You think around?
Probably not.
Not so much by foot. I mean, by foot, we can estimate height.
A little bit.
Yeah.
But, because just like us, some of us have huge feet and some of us have normal feet. And just like them, some of them have a lot more foot going on than one that's a third bigger. It's.
And what do you think about the toe placements? Like the one I have is the toe is way down here like that. Does it
I think that's just genetics, like with us. Yeah.
The one thing that seems to be a consistent pattern, though, is the width of from about the middle of the foot back. If it's almost squared where it's, rectangle shaped, it's usually a female. The male seems to have more of a wedge shape, narrower heel.
Yeah, that's the only thing about the foot that's been consistent is the male foot seems to come down into a narrow heel, whereas the female foot seems to be more squared off.
Yeah, they're more straight. like that. Okay.
And maybe that's from lugging around a 150-pound kid on their arm. You know, who knows?
Can associate with that. Well, I
So,
don't know. It's 150.
Here, I just thought about this, and I don't know why I've never asked you this in all this time. Obviously, you know, you've noticed the footprints, and you've studied the footprints, and you know, deduced, okay, this is so and so, and this is so and so, and the differences and stuff. Now, theory is that they walk 1 foot in front of the other.
Close to that, yeah.
It's real close.
It's not quite tightrope walking. It's off just tiny bit.
Like half foot.
Right, like a half foot width apart. But if you watch human footprints through the woods, there's probably a
fair gappage.
10 to 14 inch spread between their feet track. Whereas these guys are almost doing a tightrope walk.
Okay, so for the other part of that is why is that just the way they are, just the way they're built, or is it is what some people say log walking?
Well, I think it's their hip placement. I think it's the way that the rotation of their hip joint swings.
It's like their leg comes around.
It's a little bit different than our hips are spread out specifically for that, and there's the way that they swing their hips. It's almost like they're trying to work to get one in front of the other.
And the one time I think I saw Mama, that was one thing that was very distinct, was the way she was stepping. It felt as if she was bringing that leg around a little bit in that step, but I think it also enables them to do other things that we can't do.
Now they can move like lightning on 2 feet.
Oh yeah.
But when they get in that crouch position,
oh, gone.
It's just
blur.
Like a rifle shot.
Yeah, it's a blur. That's one thing I noticed in northern Idaho. I mean, I know they're there. I know they're around. I know they're watching. And I just, out of the corner of my eye, I would just see there's just this black streak running through the woods. And it's like, I've walked around back there. There's no way something other than them could maneuver through that without making a dang sound.
Mm.
We had the one
let me say this real quick before we move off of that. The younger ones, their foot placement isn't near as tightrope patterned as the adult ones. It looks more normal or natural to what you might see in a human stride. So maybe that has something to do with when they get bigger and all of that weight. And the weight placement has probably got something to do with how they balance and
I'd have to agree
move
with
their
that.
legs.
Yeah, I think they'd fall over if they walked like us, if they get that big.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's too much weight. Now, Christy's cast, do you think that's a female or a male, the way it looks?
I would say male. I can't really
move it back a little bit.
Outside edge. Let's see.
Yeah, there you go.
I would
just by the way it looks in the camera, it looks more like a male's foot than it does the female, but it could be the way it slid in the mud and maybe deformed it a little bit.
Yeah.
Well, it did have, I can tell you, it did have a round heel. It's round.
Yeah, I can see where you're holding underneath, how it's got the poured over point behind the front of your hand.
This is what's odd here, because normally they're at
the top. Sideways.
Huh?
Normally they're at the top where the V is. Mm-hmm. Normally on a male, that will come down further into the arch.
Mm.
Hold it back up for a second. So right there under your right hand, where the V is, when you go down a few inches. So where your finger, right in there, normally that would be a little bit wider, and then it would drop down into a narrow heel on a male.
Oh, okay.
So, and that could be a young female too, depending on the conditions of the ground. I mean, it's really, without a good close up, to my eye, it's kind of hard to.
There's a lot of factors that go into it. How soft was the ground? What,
Huh?
was it sandy? Was
Sideways like this?
Yeah, and then put it up here. So you can see the definition of the print more. Yeah. Yeah, it looked like that the toe is kind of divergent, isn't it? Is that what that is, Chris?
like it's a little set back on the big toe.
Yeah. Yeah. It's pretty good though.
I got a picture. Let me see if I can find a picture of. I took a picture of the print before we casted it, and it was in the mud. I was just holding it up while you was talking about the foot. I wanted to give everybody who don't know what the footprint looks like an idea of what, like as you was talking about it. I said, "Ooh, let me do that real quick,"
Yeah, I wanted to know if it was a female or male, and I wouldn't know. So.
I think to be honest with you, I think it's a female.
I'm thinking it might be a young female by looking at it. The older the female, the wider the foot gets, and maybe that also has to do with weight or something to do with childbearing. I don't know if it could be signature to, how the males will break the saplings to their height, at least their chest height.
Mm-hmm.
I'm kind of wondering if sometimes they can't tell if there's a reproductive female in the area based on structure of the foot or based on certain signs, because the females don't do near as much territorially as the males do.
Yeah, they don't seem to mark up the place like the males do. The males are the ones doing all the majority of the structure and display and all of that stuff.
The more competitive aspect is definitely in the males.
Just like the male lions, they'll go around their territory. I think it's the same thing for Bigfoot thing.
I mean, I'm sure that if there's a female in heat or something, they can smell it.
That also might be part of some of the pungent smell at different times where we've smelled that, skunky kind of
BO / dirt
body need a bath body odor skunky smell. Sometimes it's at say level 3, other times it's at level 9.
It's a must.
As far as the stank factor goes, and that might be something putting out pheromone when the females are
And we honestly don't know if they have a scent gland. I sense that they do have a scent gland.
Yeah.
I don't know that they mark like a cat, for example.
Right.
But even a buck deer has a scent gland.
Mm-hmm.
Just about everything does. I mean, we do too.
Yeah.
We just hopefully bathe at least once a day. Or
maybe you put a speed stick in his gift box next time.
Mm-hmm.
But we're wondering if that
he'd eat it.
At
least he might have good breath for a day, but
I was reading some of the comments over there. The ones in the mountains might be more adept for climbing. I think so.
Terrain might be part of how their foot structure is as well. If they're used to walking on steep grades and rocky terrain and stuff, their foot might be a little bit more narrow to cope with that. Or on the flat clay ground and stuff, it doesn't matter. They're just going to spread out and sprawl out.
Right.
Yeah.
But yeah, I definitely believe, depending on where they are and what their environments are, food, as well as maybe the way that they leave prints. And yeah, I would.
Well, I mean, it's even true to humans. I mean, there's people in those islands that climb coconut trees, and their feet are structured slightly different. They have a much deeper arch because the way they climb the tree, they're using that arch to, you know what I mean? So people, they adapt to their environment.
I think so. Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm looking at the picture she's holding up on the screen. It's got a lot of, what is that, pine needle and...
Yeah, pine needles.
Yeah, I can't tell by the bottom part. I think the toes are on top, right?
Yeah, this is where the toes are at right here.
Yeah, it looks like pine needles are like covering up the heel part of it. Mostly can't see
Yeah.
that.
Some of the prettiest ones we've seen of where they've stepped down into the moss in the spring, and it just makes a perfect cookie cutter.
Oh wow.
Yeah, they're really nice.
Yeah,
Hard to get.
I mean that moss. Yeah, I mean it would just create like a perfect little cookie cutter print.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're not on it almost immediately, it'll probably spring up a little bit. You'd never even see it again.
Yeah, you got about a half a day window.
Right.
Yeah.
We talked about it, I think it was with Tom Cantrell before, about how odd it is that some of their footprints go straight through and all you find is bare dirt, whether that's in the moss or leaf litter, pine needles, whatever it is. Some of ours we find in the leaves, but some go straight down to dirt. And he thought it was possibly the vibration. And if they are interdimensionally traveling into, say, R3D or into that space, then they would probably be oscillating or vibrating at such a rate that when they hit, or maybe they have some type of electricity to them. We have electricity in our body, so maybe there's some kind of an electrical. We haven't really decided.
Maybe it's because their bodies are so much bigger, they can put out more stuff, or it seems like, maybe. I don't know.
Well, I mean,
I'm absorbing what you're saying, so what my ear is hearing.
I've seen experiments done where people put like a plate on a pool of sand. They'll put like a plate and they'll set a speaker on the plate, and they'll play a certain tone, and you could see the sand around the plate start dancing, and then that plate just slowly starts to. And if they play a different frequency, that sand, dances even more around the plate, and the plate sinks even faster. So the theory of vibrating.
I'm still back on the bare dirt footprint and
He's
all the leaf
getting ready
litter.
To give me a hard time here.
No, I had an epiphany or an aneurysm, whichever one you want to call it. But
epiphany.
Okay, so makes perfect sense. If they're coming in, they're putting off a high static charge, and when they first step down, that static is like a magnet, and whatever they step onto sticks until they pick up and lift off, and then it spreads on out as they move on down. Where they first hit, it's like a static magnet. So,
okay.
So
well, we had the one video.
I'm sorry, guys. My brain is always
I'm thinking,
in this analyzing mode.
And he'll start something and then something will hit me simultaneously. But we had the one video, Junior had run up and you can hear him panting and all this. You can't see him, but you can hear him just as clear as can be. But what happened shortly after that was you can see, and we've talked about how their hair is reflective to what they are near. And that might be the green of shrubbery, or it might be the dark of a tree, or whatever it is. But what we actually caught on film, and it's fast. I'm telling you, it's fast. You were talking about wisps of smoke, but this is a body form. And it was probably every bit of 12 foot tall, if not taller.
And just comes behind her in the screen, just like.
And it's gliding. It's just gliding across.
You don't see it bobbing like it's taking a step. It just moves like it's on a rail.
But it's in pure sunlight when it first starts, and it has this reflective, it's an invisible quality, but you can still make out the shape of it remotely. So it's reflecting that sunlight. And it dawned on me, well, why wouldn't it? If they can reflect shrubbery or trees, darkness, light wouldn't be any different. And it wasn't until it got to the right side of the screen where there was more shade and a dark tree, then you can make out a leg and an arm. But I think that the sunlight, that a lot of times they could be easily, right there in the middle of the sunlight, and we wouldn't see them because they are reflecting that light back. which would give them the sense of invisibility or give us the illusion of invisibility.
That's something you may have heard me mention here a week or so ago when we're talking about the hair. Have you got a UV light, a black light?
I have a black light.
That hair sample that you've got?
Oh, me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you lay
I have a very small UV light for my bow. That actually unscrews.
Lay it on a black t-shirt or a black cloth or something like that, and then shine that UV light over it and see how it changes. If the outside of the hair, like the shell of the hair, will seem like it disappears and the core wants to almost glow like a scorpion under UV light, that's a pretty good sample. If it stays the same other than it just changes color because of the UV light, it's probably just a regular animal.
That's actually another, you bring up my hairs, but the hair I found and stuff like that, that's another reason why I picked that new area to move the buckets to, because that was where I found that hair.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of stuff going on around that one area, you know, and I'm just like, you know what? Go down there and do it. It's a lot further away from people. I could guarantee you no one's going to go walking down here, you know? So it just, there was a lot of factors that factored into choosing that spot.
Too far off the main trail for most of them to be comfortable with, to most of the people, human people. We keep, interusing the word people for all the different people. But yeah, the human activity is not going to stray down there.
Lori.
No, it's just, I want to move because now I've got the humans coming in seeing what I'm doing. And then that's going to raise questions. What's the bucket for? Why are you putting this stuff here? And it's like, I don't know. You know what I mean? So it's just
a question down in the comments by Lori Barnes wants to know if we think they're interdimensional. Absolutely, I think they're interdimensional. I think that you're way off track if you don't believe that they're interdimensional.
I do believe that the type 3, or the way that the types were shown, the type 3s particularly, are more bound to the physical than the type 1s, type 2s. Type 2s are kind of, depends.
They can go either way.
If you don't use it, you might lose it. But that type 3 is more 3D bound, and I think that's a lot of why so many of the experiences that people report, either visually or in dealing with that personality, are more abundant because there's more encounter based on the 3D that we live in. I hope that makes sense.
They don't have the ability to move out of the space just by thought process. They're stuck where they're at. When we say 1, 2, and 3, 3 would be the knuckle dragging, crayon eating unibrow.
A lot of them are more inbred, or they might have
a product
birth
of
defects or
inbreeding and mental defects and things like that. They're pretty much stuck the way they are where they are.
And yes, some are definitely more gifted than others. The type 1s are exceptionally gifted. Exceptionally gifted. If you get lucky enough to work with the type 1s, you will learn so much. So much. And a lot of them that are in the remote areas aren't necessarily violent just because they're in remote areas. I mean, the type 2s avoid people as a rule. But they aren't necessarily inbred or devolved. They just haven't had a reason to be around people.
And you would have to find out what type they are by just going there.
Just experience them. You've got to get in there and experience it to get that sorted out. Yeah, I know a lot of people don't agree with our thought about this, of what they're able to do and capable to do. and that's fine. You're welcome to believe whatever you want to believe about it. That's your right. That's your prerogative.
It's part of being human. Everybody has different experiences, and
Yep, I agree. Anywhere you go, they're different. They act differently according to where they live and in the situation they're in. So,
You know,
none of mine don't do anything like your guys' do. Nothing like it.
when I started my adventure, I found out very quickly there's something more to this because of my personal experiences. You know, there's something more to them. You know, that was just something I deduced myself by the experiences I had. You know, and it very quickly in the beginning, I was like, no, there's something. You know, I mean, I don't know how many times I've heard very heavy footfalls coming up behind me. Turn around, there's nothing there. You know what I mean?
Can humans walk like them?
I don't think so.
I guess if you tried to really force yourself to swing your hips that way,
you have to work awfully hard. I don't think
you might be a poor imitation of it, but I don't think.
I've tried it. It's very hard. I've tried it.
What was that last one?
I'll tell you what might work.
I'm reading out.
If you put those weight bags around your ankles and put an extra 40 pounds on each leg, and then try to make your hips swing out and around, you might get close to that walk pattern.
You'll hurt for the next week, but so yes, they are. I'm trying to think of the best way, Alan, to explain what's been shown to us. They are very stellar, or at least these that we've been working with as type 1s. Part of them being who they are and what they teach, especially about energy and portals and all these things, they're very stellar.
I'm going to tell you a bedtime story.
Oh, no.
Wait. Hold on.
I'm ready.
Okay.
I gotta get a pillow.
Once upon a time, there was an enlightened population that inhabited the planet. They were non-corrupted. They had the ability to be connected to everything and anything. And then something came along out of the sky and decided to make an engineered hybrid of it. And we're the byproduct of that engineering. We're the hybrids people.
Anka has actually communicated a lot about their associations with Lemuria, not Atlantis, but Lemuria, and their connection with the Yowies in Australia, with Southern India, and a lot of our indigenous people. And their relationship with those comes from that ancestry. Before the continent separated, before everything became what we know to be reality. And there were great wars. There were stellar wars going on between civilizations, and they used sound to fight each other. They didn't use bombs. And whole cities were flatlined, leveled with the vibrations that were used. And these people, and it makes me emotional. I swore I wasn't going to talk about it. These people, the way that Anku relays it, when he gave it, he said, "We used to be beautiful like you." But because of radiation, because of factors that came into play through the atmosphere, due to this warfare, there is natural radiation with our sun. But what will often happen, say with meteors, for example, things like this, it will accentuate. But I feel like the way that he shows it is there was a mutation of sorts. But some of these people were used as test projects for things like
trying to find the best way to put what trying not to let too much of this out because we really, really need to just put it all together in one lump and give you the whole kit and caboodle in one serving, instead of trying to hint around and, you know, a little piece here and a little piece there, because that just opens the door to so much speculation, so much confusion. And then you've got everybody in an uproar saying, well, then it's got to be like this or it's got to be like that. Until we can hand you the whole thing on a plate, it's probably better to.
Yeah, it's not fair to. We don't want to leave, and there's so much information in it. It's almost impossible for it not to be open-ended somewhere. But
at the end of the day, they're the OG and we are the hybrids, plain and simple.
And they're amazing, and especially the type ones, they are stellar. But much of what this earth is stellar. We were created out of, in that explosiveness, that stardust. We have the same elements in our body as what stardust does. I don't care how weird it sounds. It's a matter of fact, physical law of science.
World Bigfoot Radio, you know, and Bigfoot is as gentle as a lamb and sweet as sugar in comparison to some of the things that exist out there.
He saw something. Let me tell you, it had teeth like a face eater, but he don't know. Duke.
They're getting the blame, and they've gotten the blame for centuries.
Yes.
Things they haven't done.
I think the reason they get the blame is because they're the most believable thing out there that's not supposed to exist.
Well, it's one of the few things that are out there that you can actually get a little bit of obtainable evidence for, in the way of the footprints, in the way of the hair, in the way of the, you know, structures that they've left, in the way of the audio vocals that they'll make through the woods that doesn't identify with any other animal. You know, so at least with them, there's a measurable degree of, okay,
that exists.
That's out there.
Yeah.
But
at least a percentage.
The other stuff is the snake in the grass that you don't see coming.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if people really knew, especially with the type like we've been working with, I can clearly say if people had a clue as to how much we are protected from by these people, they'd probably, I know for me personally, I would be ashamed to be pointing the evil finger at them.
Right.
Because there are so many energies out there that are truly out there to cause us harm. And these guys are out there trying to protect us.
Like people.
Right.
But
you're more scared of them than Bigfoot.
It is what it is, and they've accepted it. I haven't, but they have.
You know, they get the bad rap for a lot of the missing 411, and you know, we're the first ones to sit here and say they have the ability to portal jump or they're interdimensional or whatever. They have that ability, yes, they do, but they have no desire to do the types of things that they get accused of, as far as kidnapping people and taking them into other dimensions and eating their face or whatever it is they get accused of. But there are other things that have that ability and have that agenda that want to do things like that. And I'm not saying in any way, shape, or form that that is the reason behind all of these missing cases, but I am saying this is a reason behind maybe a good 20%.
You know, I heard a story of a hunter that was walking into the woods. He's on a road covered in leaves, walking along, happens to be looking down, takes a step and sees the whole front half of his foot disappear.
Mm-hmm.
And he stepped back and he said it was like, well, you've seen it and described it, a shimmer.
Right.
It was like a thin layer of like saran wrap. And he walked up and he stuck his foot back in it and his foot disappeared.
It's like walking through a translucent waterfall.
Yep.
The way Anku showed it too is that a lot of times when we are in these environments, if everybody can kind of put their Star Wars brain on for just a second, but a lot of times when we're in these environments, what we're seeing, like when Ken and I have been out there and we've even been able to remotely catch it on video, we call it the veil, but it's this curtain.
You'll see a vapor. I mean, it literally looks like a wall of a hazy vapor in front of you.
But what he's shown me is in certain places, this can be used in a way that is holographic. It can be used in a way that is more, say, mirror-like to the rest of the forest, in that same shimmer that we're talking about, that the people aren't the only ones that know how to use the overlays, the dimensional overlays. And that in certain spots where these overlays occur, there's something just right for that energetically. And if you or I or someone else were walking in that particular place, nobody would be the wiser, because to their eye, it looks the same as everything else in their space.
And in some of those places, in the course of taking 3 steps, you could literally walk through 3 different dimensions and then right back out into your own and never realize.
And never know that it's happened.
Wow.
If they're that narrow. But if they're bigger or used for anything else, that would be a different conversation. That's where a lot of these 411 cases are happening.
Yeah.
Well, we're at the 2-hour mark. I think that's a great place to call this and let people think and process everything that has just been said.
Fairest one of all. How long?
I'm sorry.
That's okay. Was about.
We'll just finish this one question up.
He actually started communicating earlier than I realized. I didn't realize what was going on right away, but it was about
probably 2 to 3 months
November,
into
December, about 3 months before I really was on to what was going on by way of communication. But he was actually trying to communicate before that, and I think I kept energetically kind of putting a hand up to the randomness of it and the unexplainability part for just a little while.
And then the connection, once it was made, it was there.
There was no denying it. You can't run from it.
No, you can't. No, you can't. So.
But I'm grateful. He's been a true friend.
And unfortunately, it takes us about an hour to get warmed up with enough coffee to really start talking about the meat and potatoes and stuff. We really need to start this earlier in the day or just plan on staying up all night. But
well, it's always a pleasure talking to you.
Yes.
And it's actually it's very incredible. Like someone said, you're an incredible wealth of information and knowledge, and we love having you.
Don't let my slow walking and slow talking and my southern accent throw you off. I can process something.
we discussed that too. Don't judge a book by its cover, right?
That's right.
So we appreciate having you, and we'd love to have you on again in the future and catch up with you as always.
Don't hang up though when you get off the show.
What's that?
Don't
go yet when you get off the show.
Oh, okay.
Back hours. The after back party.
Backstage party.
All right.
Yeah, the backstage party.
But thank you everybody for coming.
Yes, thank you everybody for joining us in the chat tonight. It's always a pleasure to have you.
Friday is her birthday.
Yes.
Friday is her birthday. Send her a little happy birthday.
Everybody bombard Rachel with wonderful happy birthday emails on Friday.
Yep.
35 years old.
I just want to wish everybody a new year.
Yeah.
A happy new year.
Yes. So glad we got Lewis back with us.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not lagging or even dropping or nothing.
No.
Doing good, buddy. Doing good.
I'm a little closer than everybody else.
Well,
big old mug in here.
So we'll have one out tomorrow. It'll be the night video for the new camera, and we'll see how that goes. So check it out and see what you think in comparison to the earlier night videos for camera quality. That's pretty much what our objective was when we went out there, but you'll see it when you see it.
Cool. Can't wait. That was awesome.
Always a
Like all the
pleasure to
time.
wake up Monday morning to a Ken King video. That's for sure.
That's right.
For sure.
Everybody
Well,
go check them out.
Have your Cheerios and coffee ready.
That's right.
Captain Crunch.
Captain
That's
Crunch.
No,
That's
no,
right.
Lucky Charms. Lucky Charms.
There you go.
Go check out Ken
Magically
King.
delicious.
Go check out Into the Veil. Between
Right.
those two channels, completely change your mind on these people out there in the woods.
That's
I'll put it
it.
in
Really
the,
change
I'll
your
put it in the
mind.
description. I'll put their stuff in there.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Well, hope everybody had a wonderful Christmas. Hope everybody has a wonderful New Year. Rachel,
Happy
I
New
hope
Year.
you have a wonderful birthday.
That's right.
35. I'm sorry, I gotta keep throwing that in there because like I said, we're not just getting older, we're getting younger with the numbers going backwards.
I said the candle was a 3 and a 2. That way she could either be 32 or 23. If I put a 5 in there, I'll get in trouble because then it might be 53. And then I'll be sleeping out there with Junior.
Oh, you had to sleep under the tree with them.
I'm pretty sure Junior will keep
Belly
his
rubbing
wife
him.
warm.
Yeah.
Belly rubbing him. Making
Nice
sure.
warming.
Have to get him some of that Dr. Squatch soap or something like that. we can stand it.
Right. Well, everybody, thank you for joining us tonight. And I think we're just winging it for next weekend. Stay tuned.
I don't know. I'm gonna start bugging some people. I'm trying to get a couple people. So I just
All right.
some people you have to work
Well,
on.
I think- Wade Richards.
Yeah, he said he
wants
was.
to. Yeah.
Yeah.
Tell them to hook up with you.
Email me.
Yeah.
You still got to put my email up on the bottom there?
Yeah, it's still SoCalForestNinjas
Yeah.
Hotmail.
Gmail.com
or
Like
Hotmail.
him.
Gmail.
or Hotmail.
Hi, Bob.
Gmail will get the faster reply because
Hi,
it goes
Carl.
to my cell phone.
Oh, okay.
Hotmail is
I'll
to
put
the
it in there.
laptop.
I'll put that in there
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just put them both in there. So
Okay.
if anybody wants to come on the show, socalforestninjas at gmail.com or hotmail.com. Gmail will get you a faster reply.
Yep. And we need to get Tony on here too. Concrete Cryptids. You need to come on here.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's late. He should have been here. Where you been?
Yeah.
Love you, Tony.
So with all that being said,
Peace out.
Have a
See
great
you
night,
later.
everybody.
Happy
See y'all
New Year
next
with
time.
many blessings. Mwah. To all the squatchers.